guys, this is Israel with SDS Parts. You can visit our website at sdsparts.us. Today we're going to be replacing the glass only on a Galaxy S5 screen. We have the first step, we're going to go ahead and test it. We have these testers available in our store just to make sure that everything works and you guys can see the whole process from beginning to end. Alright, so we connect that LCD there, and we use this flex to make sure that after so many times that we're testing the Galaxy's S5s, we will not have to replace the flex that is coming out of the tester. It will make things a lot easier. If that connector broke, then we'll just replace this part of the flex. Right, so the way this tester works, so we're just going to go ahead and turn it on. You should see an LED light come on, and then you're just going to keep this button pressed for a few seconds until you see the Samsung logo. As you can see, this LCD is 100% working. It's got some damage on the left top side, but our LCD seems to be working just fine. And we'll go ahead and test our digitizer before we get started. So let's go ahead, and it did unlock that phone. I'm just going to go ahead this app across just to make sure that our digitizer is good. This screen came from a Galaxy S5 original. So as you can see, everything is working. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off, and we'll be able to get started on that repair. The way you unplug this cord, just make sure that you're not pulling more than you should on this flex right there. So you want to put your finger there and then pry it off. Okay, the next step, once we have that Galaxy S5 completely tested, that LCD and digitizer working, we're going to go ahead and put it in this 3-in-1 machine. This is also available on our website. We have these in stock ready to ship. The temperature that we usually use is 80. Right now it's set at 81. It really won't make a difference, 1 degree, but let's go ahead and set it at 80 to make it easy. So let's go ahead and I'm going to lay this on this hot plate, and this machine has a button on the back where when you turn it on, it would start heating up. If it's not on, then you would see that even though you have that button in the on position, you will not see the hot plate come on. So we've had it on for 10-15 minutes to make sure that we're at 80-degree mark. On the top, you have a vacuum, and that vacuum is going to help you keep this screen completely locked to that hot plate. So when we're using our strength to separate that glass, is going to be a lot easier. It has a silicone layer, so you just want to make sure that the holes are aligned before we set down that screen on the hot plate. And also the way you want to do it is, I'm going to go ahead and set up this screen where the top part is going to be the one that does not have the flex. It'll be easier for me to start from that top and then work my way down. So I'm going to go ahead and set it up there, and while it heats up, I'm going to go ahead and get this set up. Basically, these are just 2 sticks, and they have a screw and a little plastic washer that would help you get this wire on, and then instead of using your fingers or trying to come up with any other tools that you may use, you can use these sticks, and they're pretty cheap. We have them in our store as well. So basically what we want to do is go ahead and unscrew that a little bit. It matters what wire or what quality of wire you use. As you can see, if it is bent, instead of trying to just straighten it out, just make sure that you kind of follow the turns that it takes. So like if you have a wire that is turned several times, instead of just trying to pull it, make sure you kind of work your way out of the mess that you just got in. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this part just to make sure that we don't have any nuts like this one. Can you, let's see, hopefully you can see it on the camera. There's a knot right there. If you pull on it, it would break really quick. So that is what we don't want on the wire. So make sure that if you do, you just have to get rid of this wire so you don't have to be replacing that wire in the middle of repair. So let's go ahead and put it around that stick. You want to have it under that washer. Then you want to screw it back in. Make sure it's tight. You should be good to go. And then you just want to make sure that this is straight completely. I usually go a few turns on the stick to make sure I have a better, that it's held better instead of just being held down from that screw only. So I want to have a good distance to go here. So the next step is I'm going to cut it, and before you cut it, make sure you secure that wire. That way you don't have to waste a lot of it. I'm going to set it there, and we're going to do the same thing with the second part. Just make sure that that wire is not tangled up. Make sure it's as straight as it can be. I'm going to take the other end and do a few loops around that screw under that red washer. Great. So this is set up. Again, before I start, I'm going to roll them. First step is we're going to go ahead and turn that pump on. And I'm just going to make sure that that LCD is completely secured. It's not moving at all. So we're going to go ahead and get started. As I said, I like to do a few turns. So that way that wire is held, it has more support than only that screw right there. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Make sure that the wire goes under the LCD right against that glass. And basically what you have to do once that you know you're there is you're just going to go ahead and go left to right. And making sure that your angle is a little bit below that plate. From that point on, we just have to be patient, and we're gonna wait. We're gonna work our way down. All right. So now it seems like I am in the right position, right under that LCD, and I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but on the left and on the right edges of that screen, you can actually see that glue kind of coming out of that LCD. That's the OCA that it was used to bond that screen. This S5 is one of the hardest on the Samsung brand because that LCD is really, really thin. So you just have to make sure that we don't break it in this process. If you have done an S3 and S4, you will notice a difference with that LCD size. And if you have not and you do an S5, when you go back to an S3 or an S4, it will be a lot easier. So basically this point is just patience, going left and right. You want to make sure that it is hot enough for that glue to be softened up so you can cut it through. but you don't want to get it too hot where you would burn your LCD or your polarizer. All right, so I am almost to the top, and what I'll do, I'm just gonna go back and forth a few times just to make sure that that LCD is completely free from the glass. So you can see that it starts lifting up. That's a good sign. And on the very top, we just want to be careful with that flex. So we're getting to that top side. Watch both sides because this side could be farther down than your left side or the opposite way. So you always want to make sure that you won't damage that flex. So this S5 LCD, it seems as thin as the iPhone 6. I'm not sure what the difference is in measurements, but you want to use the same technique. All right, so the way I'm gonna try to see if it's freed up already. And the way that I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna set this down, and instead of lifting this LCD up, because it is so thin, in case we did not cut any of the glue, you will break it. I'm gonna go ahead and move it to the side as it is. So I'm just gonna move it to the side. Make sure that that side is good, and there it is. I'm gonna move the wire out of the way. That is the LCD. I'm gonna turn off that pump and try to retrieve that glass. I'm gonna set this down to make sure I can get this glass out. It's gonna be hot, so that is the glass. That is the LCD. I'm going to set this aside, and what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and test that LCD now so you guys can see that it is still working. This screen right here, and I'm going to plug it in to the tester. So we turn it on, make sure that LED light is on, and then we're just going to keep this button pressed a few seconds. We have not cleaned the LCD yet. That will be the next step. So right now you'll see that glue still on that screen. But we want to make sure that the LCD is fully working and the digitizer is working as well. All right, so I'm just going to try to move this icon around through the glue. So you can definitely see that the digitizer is good, and the LCD is also good. So we're going to go ahead and turn it off. And the next step is to clean it. So you can go ahead and pull this flex like that. That way you don't have it under that LCD. So we're going to use this cloths. We also have these guys in our store. And our cleaner. Since it is a Samsung screen, I can spray this without worrying about getting in between that LCD and backlight. It is not a big deal. I mean, it is a bigger deal on iPhones, but it is definitely something that replacing that backlight and cleaning the LCD would fix. But on Samsungs, it's just a lot easier since we don't have to worry about it. We don't have to worry about cleaning that LCD or replacing that backlight. Make sure it's out of the way. All right. We use these plastic razor blades, and they work really well. We like them. Makes the job easier, and we don't have to be worrying about scratching that polarizer with it. There's some glue on the top that I still have to clean. It's still glued to that LCD, so I'm just going to use this razor blade to get it off. A very important thing is when you're cleaning, when you're working with these LCDs, make sure that you have something flat under the LCDs. You do not want to be cleaning this LCD in your hand. You don't want to be cleaning it in an uneven surface. So make sure that you have always something behind the LCD that is very sturdy and leveled. That way you will not be breaking your LCD. So I've taken most of the glue off the LCD. I'm just going to go ahead and finish cleaning it. I'm just going to clean the table a little bit. Usually what we do, we use a blue towel, a shop towel under, just to make sure that there's no glue. It would be a lot easier to clean if you just swap that blue towel. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and I went ahead and cleaned the table, and we're adding one of these towels. It just makes life easier. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and finish cleaning it off. It is very important on the very top just to make sure that, that we don't have any glue. So I'm just going to spray some there, and I'm going to go with this razor blade. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the camera, but just to the very top, make sure that we don't have any glue left. Great, so we should be good now. We're gonna test it one more time right after I clean, so that way we can just, you guys can see every step of the process, make sure that it works, and hold on. So right now the goal of me cleaning is just to get the bulk of the glue out or off this screen. It's not going to be perfectly clean until we're ready to bond it with our glass. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and test it one more time. This screen doesn't have any glue. It does have some particles left, which will remove once we're ready to bond with the new glass. So I'm going to pull that tester again just to make sure everything is good. And see, make sure we get it right. I want to put it right there. I think this might actually be a better position for you guys to see on the camera. Turn it on. Whoop. That is the clean LCD. All right, so we'll test it again. Same deal. We can see that LCD is great. There's no spots or anything on it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. So now we're ready to go ahead and start that bonding process. So we're going to go ahead and start it with that bonding process. We're going to go ahead and set this aside, and let's get ready the glue and the dispenser as number one step. Basically you have a latch on the back. You want to go ahead and put it up, and if you can see through, you see that it kind of opens a space for you to insert this right here. And when you look at it, you'll see that it's coming from the bottom. So you want to have these guys looking down. So you push this latch up, and we're going to go ahead and insert it through. And basically you just push it all the way through. Make sure it's against that wall. And then we're going to go ahead and open one of these guys. It's got a lid on it. You just insert it in, lock it in place, and you would just take this lid off. And basically, as let me just test it here on this glass so you guys can see. As you push, that LOCA glue would come out. It is in liquid form, and it will not get hard until we use a UV lamp on it. So this is ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and put this back on. This mold right here, it's going to help you guide where the LCD and the glass are going to come together. So this is a mold for an S5. Each model, you will need a mold for each model. All right, so we want to set it up, make sure that it fits perfectly on this mold. I usually start on the bottom and work my way up. So once we set it in the right place, right there, the next step is to go ahead and clean that screen. And now we're going to make sure that there's no specks of dust, there's no glue left on that LCD, because it's going to be ready to bond. This is our brand new glass. I'm gonna have it handy, and our glue. So we're gonna go ahead and make sure, usually we work on in a clean environment, but we'll do our best out here to not get any dust in between that LCD and glass. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a new cloth. Here I usually use as many cloths as I need to, and to make sure that I have that LCD completely cleaned and in place. So all right, seems like finally we got it all cleaned. All right, the next step is our LOCA glue. So the way we want to do this is go from the top to the bottom, and we want to make sure we are as even as we can. Let's see. So once you start putting it down, make sure it always stays connected. Let that dispenser go back and keep going. And you want to make sure that there's no bubbles when you're applying the glue to the LCD. And the way to do that is to not let go until the very end. So that way we get a string of glue evenly. This might be a lot of LOCA, but with Samsung devices, we don't have to be as careful as we would with iPhone. So the first thing is we're going to go ahead and take that front cover off, and then we want to do the back cover right there. We want to set that glass from top to bottom as well, and we want to go really slow. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave a finger there. When it starts touching that glass, then you can start putting it down. And this really is just patience to go slow as you put that glass down on the LCD with LOCA. All right, once you have it set down, a comment I should make is if you're not sure how much LOCA to use, it's better to use more than not enough, because you can always clean it. So I'm just pressing slowly, and you can see how the glue starts taking over on this is with glue, without glue. And then as we press, that glue is going to start expanding to the corners. So same deal on the other side. And always, sometimes those corners might be hard to get. So gravity is always your friend. Try to tilt that screen. As long as you're in your mold, you can leave it there. That LCD is going to stay put, that glass is going to stay put. The only thing that's going to be moving is that glue. So it helps to push from the back to help that glue to get in between the glass and the LCD. So that's something else you could do. It's I don't know if you can see this bubble right there. The way you would get rid of it is just pushing it out, so there's no bubble anymore. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to get all the corners. Again, patiently. This is a good thing about having liquid glue, that you just can wait, and then gravity is going to do its job. You just have to be patient, and then you have to clean all that mess at the end. The good thing about this mulch right here is that you have access to the back, so you can actually help that LCD or help that glue when you press in between that LCD and glass. You don't want to do it really hard because you don't want to crack that LCD, or you don't want the glass to snap off the mold and then try to get it on. You're going to have to clean all that glue before it dries and then do it again. So that corner is completely done. That one, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a like tiny spot there that I'm going to try to get. Again, you can always do it when you press on it a little bit. Make sure that you get it, and then I'm just going to turn it around. Again, I'm just letting gravity do its job. And if you can see there, you can see a few bubbles. It's just that glue is getting down. I can help by pressing, but sometimes when you press, that glue would goes where it should go. But then as soon as you stop putting pressure on it, you would see that bubble come out again. So you just have to make sure that gravity is going to do its job. So I'm just going to check, and it looks really good. As I don't know if you could tell, but you can see that LOCA glue on those corners. See, that's glue, and that's just because we did a lot of it, which is fine. I mean, we can always clean it. If glue is on the glass, you can easily clean it, no problem. So we want to make sure that now that there's no bubbles, there's no specks of dust or anything like that, we're going to go ahead and use a UV light on it, and it's going to dry. So we have that UV light. You can get this one on our website as well. It's going to be under the refurbishing tools. And you can have a nice setup where you can have like a frame built into it, and so you can have like a piece of wood and then holding that from the top and then just turning it on. Since we do not have that, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and set it on top. So I'm just going to set it on top, and I'm going to turn it on. So you can see that UV light coming through. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it there for a few minutes, and just make sure that that glue completely dries. We don't want that glue liquid anymore, and we'll check back in a few minutes. All right, guys, so it's been a few minutes, and we're going to go ahead and take the light off, or turn it off, and take it off that the top of the screen. That's the glue that was outside, the extra glue that we had. I'm going to go ahead and push that screen off the mold, and because we had extra, we just need to make sure that we're careful and we don't break it on the process off. So the next thing, we're going to go ahead and clean all that glue excess that we had. Again, you do not want to do this on an iPhone. If you do, you don't only have to clean the surroundings like we're doing now with this S5, but you would actually have to take the backlight off, clean in between the backlight, which is not fun, and then replace that backlight. It is not impossible, it's just not fun. So if you're looking into doing iPhones, you can do this. Obviously, the more you do it, the more precise you get with how much LOCA you can dispense. But it is not a replacement for OCA sheets for the iPhone. Samsung's a lot more forgiving, easier to clean. You don't have to worry about that backlight. And I mean, as you can see, it's not taking me that long to clean that screen from all that glue excess that we had. So with the S3 and S4, many people will try to do is keep those screens in the frame, and they're going to try to split, or they split the glass from the LCD without taking it off the frame, but they have to use other methods. I don't like doing that. I think you cannot really see where the LOCA may have gone after. I mean, there's so many opinions out there. That's just what I think. So I always take it off the frame. We have a video showing you how to take it off the frame. This machine is great for it. It would take maybe a couple of minutes to do that. It's not hard at all. And anyways, so everything's cleaned off. You can, of course, try to do more if you like, but I mean, that's basically the bulk of it. I'm just trying to get all that glue off. I'm going to put it down so I can finish cleaning it. Again, you don't want to put pressure on that screen if you don't have something hard behind it. So that's why we always put it down, a board or a table, just to make sure that we won't crack that LCD. All right, so last step, we're going to go ahead and test it one more time. Make sure everything is working. Let's go ahead and grab our tester here. And go ahead and plug it in. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. Turn it on. Keep that pressed. That's our screen. We're going to test our digitizer. Let me just get in a better position here. You can see everything is working. So that would be it. Thank you so much for watching. This is the full refurbishing process using LOCA glue. You can see the whole video for all the tools that you would need. We will list them below. We have most of these things for sale on our website, and you can visit us anytime, stsparts.us. You can give us a call or post your comments below. Thank you so much.